You know that moment when in your head your sketch looked cute, fun, awesome? Then you draw it in your tablet, it comes out flat, muddy, somehow a little sticky? Today, we're gonna peel into those drawings, see why it is they might be looking bad, and some things you can do to easily fix them. You'll leave with simple fixes you can use in your very next doodle.
You might be using the wrong brush. What it might look like: wobbly lines, no ability to shade, maybe it doesn't even have pressure sensitivity control. And just everything feels off. Maybe your brush is too textured. Maybe it's just too fancy for what you're doing. So the fast fix is to pick one simple sketch brush and one simple inking brush for the whole week. In your Procreate library, you can go to pencils in the new editions. In the original library, you can go to drawing. That's not what I want. I mean sketching. And I like 6B. There's a 6B. And while we're here, let's go ahead and look at an inking brush. Now, it depends a little bit what you like. Let's go to calligraphy. Some people really like the calligraphy brush, or the monoline brush. It's nice and smooth, but it doesn't have pressure sensitivity. Some people like that, like the amount of control it gives them, and it's good for certain things. So that's a choice if you don't want your line weights to vary. And then you can go to inking. I've added a bunch of brushes here. And the studio pen is going to be a nice one. It doesn't have any texture at all. And this one does have pressure sensitivity. So if you're touching it very light and then pressing harder, you're going to have variation in your line weight. So see how that is very thin? And then I can make it thick, and then thin again. I held it a little too long, so Quick Shape made it pretty for me. But as you can see, you have a thinner line weight here, and then a thicker line weight here. So again, this one is monoline. This one is studio brush. And this one is 6B. And these are going to be in your classic library. Let's go ahead and write that. So this one's going to be classic. Let's go ahead and do the new Procreate library. I think it's just called Procreate library. And then pencil, I like this Scopus one. It is pressure sensitive as well, so I'm drawing very light, and then I press and it'll draw darker. This one is Scopus. But if you're not into that, let's see if we can find you a different brush. Nope, that one has pressure sensitivity as well. So these all are pretty pressure sensitive. You can go in and change that in your brush settings, but I would just pick one, play with it. Oh, this one's not. I mean, it is, but which one is this? Did I even spell that right? Helion? Anyways, I have no idea how to pronounce it, but this one is a little less, it's pressure sensitive, but a little less sensitive. You might want to try that one out. And you're only using these for a week just to see how you like them. And then let's find an inking brush. This one's harder for me over here because I found a lot of them that I quite like. Not so much even in the inks, but in the pens. This one I was just playing. I haven't actually played with this one, but it's fun. I like this one as well, and I think I've used this one too. Those three are very similar to each other. Where is it? It's in lettering. I have a tendency to like the pressure sensitive brushes. So if you're not about that life, just go in and play till you find one you like. This is under lettering. I think it's Kettering, but this one, as you can see, has a very flat. Like it's not rounded. Just when the pressure sensitivity is not super sensitive. Let's go back to, let's see, pens. Let's go to the inks. Let's go back to the pens. Okay, I haven't played with this one in a little while, but I feel like it's nice. It's pressure sensitive as well, but it does have, it doesn't have a super smooth edge, so that might not be the look for you. That one's much smoother. And let me zoom in a little so you can see what I mean. What is this one real quick? This one is Lifey. It's these. But it is nice and smooth on the edges, where this one has a textured edge. That might not be what you want to play with right now. I kind of like those textured edges in some things, because to me it makes it look more natural, more hand-drawn. I like this sketchy look in a lot of things. This one's going to give you a smoother look. This one, what was this guy? This one was the Ellerave. Yeah, and some more letters. Like, I'm not sure if that's spelled right. But these are good options in your new library. Pick one or two. Go through, pick your own, whatever. I would try one of these just for quickness. If you want to go in and play, pick that. You can turn down any of the settings in your brushes. I would make a duplicate brush first. That way you still have the original, but you can play with your stabilization and your streamline. A lot of people really like these settings. They say it gives them more control. They drive me insane. So a lot of people like them and love what it does for their art. To me, I can't hardly stand that, and I'll go in and change it. So you have to find what works for you. Turn up or down any settings, but like I said, make sure you duplicate your brush first. That way, if you hate what you've done, you still have that original. So you can give yourself a timer, or a few days. So if you want to set a timer for 10 minutes and just play with those brushes one at a time, 10 minutes each, do that, see how it works for you. Or you could play with that set of brushes for a week and see how you like them. Okay, something not everyone realizes, if you do, go ahead and skip past this part, is canvas size. I see people all the time maybe bringing in artwork that was a sketch, or they brought it in and then they zoom out and it's horribly pixelated, or just on a regular canvas size it's horribly pixelated. And a lot of time they're bringing in small art and trying to enlarge it, or the DPI is lower. So if the original drawing is a small DPI and it's a tiny drawing, there's not a lot you can do for it in Procreate other than use that as a sketch layer and redraw it, or trace over it. Though that's on a canvas with a higher DPI. There are programs that you can rescale, but Procreate's not the one. That's not this video, and results may vary. So what you want to do in Procreate is start with the biggest canvas size and the highest DPI you're going to need for your art. DPI 300 across the board is good, unless it's only going to live forever as little digital stickers. Then you can save space and save your customers space by using a lower DPI. If you don't know what your end art is going to be, it is always better to err on the side of caution, starting with like a 5,000 by 5,000 canvas. Or if you don't think you would ever do anything that big, you could do like an 11 by 14 inch canvas. Those are both going to be good sizes to get you started. And if you ever want to do like a t-shirt or, a wall art print that's not over the size 11 by 14. Those give you a lot more options. That way, if you don't know what you're going to do with your end line art. And then, of course, if you're super zoomed in, it's not really going to matter what size your canvas or DPI is. If you are super, super zoomed in, you're going to see the pixels. We're in a raster program, which is pixelated art. You will see the pixels. If you print it out and you're on a proper size canvas with proper DPI, it's not going to look like that. So you don't need to worry. So don't have a panic attack if you're super zoomed in on your canvas. Zoom back out. And if everything looks good, do a test print, order a sample product before you try to sell to the masses. You should be good to go. Which you can only do that so much on traditional art before you've got a nice fun hole in your paper. So, there are limits. With digital art, unfortunately, you can become an overthinking beast. So, in order to fix that, try to block in your shapes at first, block in your colors, set timers, and when they ring, you're done. Your playtime is over. Move on to the next part of your drawing. Everyone won't need this, but there are those of us that tend to overthink, question. And if the timer doesn't help, you can also put it away for the day, come back to the next day. That trick works as well. I was working on some art yesterday, and by the end of it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is hideous. No one's going to like it. No one's ever going to buy it. I can't compare it to the other artists out there. Yeah, yada, yada, yada. Going down the whole imposter syndrome train. Imposter syndrome. Ooh, I cannot speak. Going down the entire imposter syndrome train of thought. And it's like, we don't need that in our lives. And so I walked away, and you know what? I came back to it later, and I was like, this is fine. It's cute. My art's not for everyone. Everyone likes what they like. And, that's kind of the whole thing behind art, visual arts, music arts. That's how they work. Just walk away, come back again. Something that can also mess with us are our values are a little bit too similar, and that can make everything look flat. So this can happen when your colors are too close together in value. And sometimes I go back and forth on this. Sometimes I like the similar values, sometimes I don't. Like sometimes if I move colors too far away from each other on the color wheel because they're not contrasting enough, sometimes I hate it. But let me show you how you can check. Let me actually show you what I was working on. And I'm still not finished with it, but it is still a work in progress. But let me see if I still have it set up. Okay. So here's the art that I'm working on. What you can do is go in with a blank layer. Go to either your color wheel or your classic panel, and double tap the black, and that will give you your truest black, and whoops, fill the layer. And then once you've got that layer filled with black, you're going to go into your blend modes. You just select your N for normal, and your drop down menu of layer blending modes is going to appear. And you're going to scroll down, and then you're going to see hue. And this is going to show you your image in grayscale. And basically what you'll be able to see is how close together your colors are. So as you can see, if I didn't have these separated out by the black line art, these two colors would be super close together. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep the black lines in this image yet, but if I were to take them away, this image, some of these colors would blend in. So by turning your image grayscale, you can see if your colors look like they're super matching. Like there's not a huge amount of contrast in between these two flowers. If this black line wasn't here, there wouldn't be really any contrast at all between my background and this flower. And this flower, I'll zoom in, I don't know that you can actually tell, but the line art and the flower itself are so close together it's hard to see. So you may want to go in and adjust your colors some. If everything looks great to you, if it's a commission and your client is happy, then leave it how it is. And some artists, that's their style. Their colors are very close together. In some artwork, it looks better with a higher contrast. So that's something you have to go in and decide, or of course your client, maybe they want to decide that as well. But if everything seems off, you can go in and try that little trick. And let's talk a little bit more about edges. And this could be why your art doesn't look the way you want it to look. Your edges might look super sharp, or they might look soft and blurry. It might look like everything blends together, or it might look super drastic if your edges are really sharp. And this can depend on your art style. This can depend on your art style. Like I was talking about with contrast, sometimes they're big, bold, stark edges. And then sometimes things should blend. And that's one of the things I'm getting hung up with on this piece. Because I'm not sure if I want the bold outlines or if I want more of a blended look. That's why, and other than color scheme as well, that's why this image isn't quite finished. And these are all simple base colors too. I could leave it here, or I could also, I haven't really added in any shading at all or any details on that. But as you can see here, these are bold outlines. They're sharp edges. And I don't know if I like it. Granted, I'm not I'm not the customer, so the final choice isn't up to me, but it's I don't know how I feel about this. You can go in and, well, that's even more severe, my black outlines. You can, whoopsie. You can turn off some of the line art. You can go in and make it different colors. I mean, without it, it looks, obviously, everything is super blended and super soft. I would definitely need to go in and do some shading if I were to leave it like that. And everything is going to be different depending on what you like, what your customers like, but it's something you can go in and check and alter. Now, let's talk a little bit about your lines looking shaky. And this might not be because you haven't had practice or, because you don't have talent. It could be because you need to practice more. But it could also be happening if you're new to digital art. Drawing on glass feels different than drawing in a sketchbook. Let's start with that. Your posture might be different. Your grip might be different. So, one of the easiest things you can do is sit up, relax your shoulder, try to loosen your grip. Try to make sure your strokes are coming from your arm and not your wrist. If this is just overuse, from my entire shoulder down is actually burning a bit right now. So make sure you take lots of breaks. You can crank up the stabilization like I briefly showed you earlier in the brush menu. And try to make sure you're doing some warm-ups. Let's go out of here real quick. Warm-ups help you loosen up. They give you a chance to think about what you're wanting to do. You can start by drawing just lines. Try to make sure when you're doing something like lines and the circles that you're remembering to use your whole arm. And this isn't for social media. This isn't for the likes. This is gonna look, trashy. Maybe you'll find something you like, but go in and just clear it off so you have more space. You can make little curves. This brush is killing me. or use, whatever you want to call them, go one direction, then another. Make little S's. You can't make S's with this brush. It's out of control. Y'all, I need to stop. There. That's so much better. See the difference in those brushes? Tease. You know, give yourself a couple of minutes to warm up and loosen up. A couple of things I also can't draw without. I do like to use my my easel, but as you can tell, if I had everything set up like this, my video wouldn't record where you could see it. I don't particularly, I'm not in love with the easel I have. I can go ahead and link it for you guys if you want to check it out, but I do have to move around a lot, so it kind of like wobbles and falls over. I mean, not while I'm drawing on it, but just when I have to pick it up and move it around. If you're going to be stationary and don't have a toddler that wants all of the things, it's no big deal. Pencil grips, I don't know how well you can see this one. I cannot draw without my pencil grips. I need them. It makes it feel more comfortable for me. You can use a drawing glove to help your hand glide across the tablet. I usually don't. It's not my favorite because it impinges my gesture ability. I have heard of people trying to like use their thumb for like a 3-finger swipe, but that's awkward to me. And I'm in such a habit of swiping up and swiping down on my screen. I don't normally use the glove. I do not like drawing on glass. It feels funny. It feels weird. I use a paper-like screen protector. I used one with my old iPad. I tried a cheaper brand. I didn't like it as well, but if you're on a budget, it works. I mean, I think it was maybe less than half the cost, but I didn't like it. It bubbled up. Maybe it was me. Maybe it was me applying it. I know a lot of other people like it. I couldn't stand it. Maybe I just am, spoiled by Paperlike. I really don't draw digitally without those. Now, once you have the screen protector on, it feels like a sketchbook. In my opinion, I think it feels just like drawing on paper. Some people don't like them. They say they wear out your nibs faster. I would rather buy more nibs and be able to use my drawing surface. And I never really drew without one on glass. Well, I tried it and I was like, oh my god, this is awful, and didn't try to learn more. Well, I may have a couple times, got frustrated and left, and then found out about screen protectors, and I was like, oh, game changer, can't live without. So those are just a couple of things that I use and that I would recommend if your digital drawing experience is still not what you're looking for after you've tried the other things that I suggested in the video. So if you think this was helpful, make sure you hit like and subscribe, and let me know if there's any specific tasks you struggle with when trying to draw digitally, or if you have any tips to share with the audience what makes your digital art better, what you think the top things to learn are, and what's helped your digital art improve. And that's it for today, guys. And actually, one more thing I want to mention. Give yourself grace if you're new at this. Even if you've been sketching for years, with all things, there's a learning curve. So give yourself time, try to relax, and have fun with it. Alright guys, I hope to see you again real soon. I made a free guide. I'll list it in the description of this video for you to get started digital drawing and get rid of some of the overwhelm. Alright guys, have a great day.